This is the Huawei P20 Lite. Okay, so coming in at the lower end of the scale in Huawei's P20 lineup, we have the Huawei P20 Lite. This retails for around about $299, which is hardly the cheapest phone on the market, but it looks to be a pretty good combination of price and specs. So we're going to dig in here and have a look and see what we have. This is the 4GB, 64GB, 4GB ROM, 64GB storage option, and if everything is correct, then it should be pink. Okay, so we have the phone on top, not in a rather attractive cutout or anything like that. It's just lying on the top, so things are getting a little cheaper, I guess. We have around here a SIM card ejector tool, which is a very bent paperclip. Simple, I actually quite like that. That's got a bit of style and design to it. It's not bad. It's cheap, but fine. At least you get one, I suppose. We have the quick start guide in multiple languages. We have a warranty card. We have the charger. I believe let's see if we have it's a quick charge, Huawei quick charge or fast charge. No, it's quick charge, it says on it. 2 amp, yep, 9 volt, 2 amp. So fairly fast charging. And it's the USB Type-C connector as well, with a fairly nice whitish, kind of off-white actually, cable. Then at the top here we have a pair of in-ear earbuds or whatever you want, with an inline microphone. I'll just put those back in the box and we'll speak no more of them. And then down this end we have nothing. Okay, so not too much in the box. I was actually hoping for a case. It struck me as the kind of phone that would ship with a case. Unless you include this plastic bag as the case. And it is pink. We have a pink phone. And it looks rather nice, to be honest. It's got a certain look and feel that reminds me of a particularly Apple device. And I'll hold it like that. You can see that there is a protrusion for the camera, so she doesn't lie flat on the table, she wobbles. And we have some protective gear on here. And once that's removed, you can see the color. It's a very lightish pink, quite pale, not garish, not rose gold, but a kind of a nice. I'm not great with colors, but it actually has a bit of an orange twinge to it. Maybe it's just me. Probably is just me. But looking around the device, we have a rather nice parallel or dual line around the phone, and we have the SIM card tray on the side there. Which takes a micro SD card. It's pink as well. Nothing else down this side. Along the bottom we have a 3.5mm headphone jack. Excellent. USB microphone hole there, and the downward firing external speaker. Up here we have what looks like a power button and a volume rocker. It's quite small actually, the volume rocker. Yeah, and the power button as well. they've been downsized. I mean, if we were to take Samsung Galaxy S8 and hold it up to compare the sizes of the buttons, if we could just about make it there. We have, they are notably smaller. I mean, that's where that comes up to. Yeah. So on the top we also have a microphone hole for noise cancellation, multiple microphones. We have dual cameras on the back here. This is a dual lens beastie. So a 16 megapixel dual lens array that has the f-stop of 2.2 and a 2 megapixel phase detection autofocus camera on there. Video is 1080p, which is a bit disappointing. It's not quite 4K. And then around the front we have a 16 megapixel camera. You can see that there's actually a nice little grill there for the speaker. It looks quite cute in the middle with a sensor to the left, so it's kind of nicely symmetrical. We're going to note that this is a notch, and it's quite a small notch at that. It's not as small as the Essential phone, but it's certainly smaller than a particular phone that this mimics in many ways. And then down the bottom we have the bottom bezel. No button, thankfully. We're all touchscreen because the fingerprint sensor is on the back, not at the bottom, as we have seen on other Huawei devices. So we're going to turn her on and see what happens. We have Huawei Android, and whilst it's booting up, I'll give you an idea of some of the other specifications that are inside. It should be running Android 8.0 Oreo out of the box. It's got the high silicon Kirin 658, rather nice 3D effect there on the text, which is kind of swish. The 659 processor, it's an octa-core processor inside that's supported by a Mali T830 GPU. It's got 64 gigabytes of storage inside. It's also available in the 32 gigabyte storage flavor as well. There we've got EMUI popping up. It's got 4 gigabytes of RAM. It's looking for a SIM card, which I have not inserted because I still have it in my S8, and I don't particularly want to use a pink phone, to be honest. Just to have a look here, we're doing quite nicely with the screen size here. It looks quite nice that the bezel is almost minimum, much like we've seen on the other P20s. It is quite lovely to look at. Whilst the screen itself is an LTPS IPS LCD capacitive touchscreen with 16 million colours. It's a 5.8 inch panel that displays 1080 by 2280 pixels, and that's a 19.9 ratio. It works out about 430 ppi, 432 I think the spec sheet said. Okay, asked us there for joining up to the weather and Wi-Fi Plus. We'll get her online. One of the features that is in it is it's actually only Bluetooth 4.2, which is a bit of a shame, with Bluetooth 5 being all the rage and most of the new devices that are coming out now featuring it. This only has 4.2, so it's going to annoy some who are looking for that slightly more robust Bluetooth stack. Okay, we're going to skip the setup of Google because that can take a while, and last time I did it I managed to install a bunch of kind of annoying applications that were linked to my account. So we're going to start as new, and I do have a Huawei ID, but I just can't remember what it is. And we'll skip the fingerprint ID. So EMUI. My daughter mentioned recently that she got an update on her Honor 8, which was kind of unexpected because it hasn't had one since we got it well over a year ago. And this is EMUI version 8 that has a bunch of nice additions to it. It's becoming more and more like a really powerful overlay. It's not quite as in your face as something like TouchWiz, but it is its own environment. And some people won't like that, but it's quite customizable and it's got plenty of things that you can do with it. So we have Google swiped over there from the left, Google on tap or Google Now or whatever they're calling it today. We'll have a look at the applications that are installed because this doesn't have the drawer set up by default, which is a bit of a pain, but that's our phone manager. I thought it was phone manual there. Themes, music. The theme store is always a big attraction for many of the folks, and I'm guessing that someone who owns a pink super thin phone like that is going to care about what theme they have running on the device. We have a music player that is standard of Huawei and EMUI. Okay, so I have a pretty decent audio set up here, so I'm going to have a quick play with the speaker on the bottom just to see how loud it is, how beefy it sounds. I was hearing a few notifications there. It was a bit weedy, to be honest.
I will climb, I will soar. I'm undefeated. Oh, jumping out.
Right, okay, so it does have a decent amount of volume to it. It's not particularly awful or anything like that. It certainly could sound better, but for the money, it's not too bad. The video player as well. No videos installed for demonstration. We have the health app, which I haven't heard too many people talking about whether Huawei do a good health app or not. It's certainly not as highly thought of as Samsung's offering at the moment, although maybe it is good with this recent revision. Auto syncing photographs, we don't have any on there, so we'll do a quick test of the camera just to see how cool it is. And it's asking us to have access, turn on GPS and all that kind of stuff. One thing I will say, the screen looks a bit dim just looking at it right now. I haven't adjusted the brightness in any way. Obviously we're in quite a bright environment, as you can see the reflections of the skylight there and the... oh, I've left the curtains open over there, that's the problem. And then this big light over here. So it looks quite bright on the screen of the camera as I look through it, but looking at the screen itself as I click around, it's quite dim, so we'll take a few pictures just to see how superb the camera actually is. Paste those in and have a look. In the camera we have a decent amount of settings. We can play around with the resolution. Whilst it's grayed out, it does look like you can turn it on to RAW format. We have assistive grid, mute, timer, audio controller, touch to capture smiles, object tracking, touch and hold shutter button, volume and ultra snapshot. And then we should have more over here. We've got Huawei's typical lovely camera suite, which has all these different exciting features, slow motions and pro modes and things like that. So you can do quite a lot with the camera, and with it being a dual lens, it should lend itself quite well to some pretty decent snaps along the way. We have the clock, calendar, files, notepad, tips and loads of tools. Huawei like to kit out their phone with lots and lots of tools, not ones that are running, but ones that you can actually deal with. I don't know what quick is. We'll have a quick look at quick. Create a new video. Okay, so this is where your quick videos will live. Okay, so it's some kind of video creation tool. Sound recorder, game suite, torch, mirror. Yeah, they're all fairly self-explanatory. Phone clone which would be pretty good for people moving from one to another. Files, it's very standard. Oh, we have an update which we will do later. 64 gigabytes of storage, currently 50 is available, so the phone storage has already claimed 14 gigabytes worth of stuff, and there's no video or photographs installed as fresh, which is a bit upsetting, I think. Thankfully it's not the 32 gig, because that means you'd only have about 15 gigabytes available to play with. So in the settings, it should be fairly standard of Huawei in settings wise. We won't have a look at system because there is a new update to that. Yeah, it all looks quite lovely. This is the first time I've actually featured a phone with a notch. I haven't got the P20 or the P20 Pro yet to compare this with, but hopefully they'll be in the post some point soon. You can actually see the wee sensor there is working away. Obviously we can turn this off. I don't know where the setting is if you don't like it, but I think it's worth keeping on because it seems like quite a funky phone. It is. It's not slippery, which is one thing I always feel whenever it comes to a very plasticky back. You can hear it is plasticky, but it's got enough grip on it. It's warm today, so perhaps a sweaty hand makes all the difference. It's got a big, generous screen, and that's something that you can't sniff at. And at £300, it is only going to fall in price. £300 is still a nice amount for this level of hardware. And what we'll do is we'll take it away, start reviewing it, and we'll get a review up in the next couple of weeks before I have to send it back. And if you have any questions or anything you want me to look at in particular, let me know in the comments box down below. And as long as it's before the review is published, I'll certainly try and do something about it. Hit that subscribe button, give us a wee thumbs up if you fancy, and other than that, take care.